There are two types of losses people have to endure when they invest their money in the stock market, or for that matter, in anything. And what's interesting is one of the losses is much more painful than the other. So the first loss is opportunity loss. You see a stock, you see something that you're sure it's going to go higher, but you don't invest in it. And so there's this opportunity loss. You don't actually lose any money. You just lost that opportunity to be in that one position, that stock, that sector, that index. And so you lost that opportunity. And to the human brain, the Singapores, good English, RC, the Singaporeans have a word for this, and it's called kiasu, and it means the fear of losing out, the fear of seeing the parade go by and you're not part of it. This opportunity loss drives people crazy. And it's what drives people into the market when it's way, way, way high and keeps them out at the bottom. It's this loss of opportunity, like the opportunity will not come around again. And the funny thing about this is anyone who's ever studied the stock market or studied almost anything will almost notice that opportunities are always out there. They're always around. There's never been a time where there hasn't been opportunities. Even in the 1930s in the US, there were opportunities. Now, the other type of loss is actually losing capital loss, where you buy something at $100 and it drops to 90 or 80 or 70 or 60 or 50 or 40 or 30, yes, or 20 or 10. People aren't willing to take that loss, so they take a really big loss. Now, what's interesting is people actually get more upset with a opportunity loss or a loss on opportunity than a capital loss. It's really interesting. But just notice yourself when you're investing or not investing, when you see the index go higher or the sector go higher or the stock go higher, that you knew you should have been in or that you thought you should have been in, and that opportunity is gone. Just what type of pain that is. And just compare and contrast that to actual capital loss. And one of the things I love about market probability, the MPX2 strategy, is there are opportunity losses every few years. It happened back in 2011 where there was an MPX signal, it got out, and while we were out, what I call in red light mode, the stock market went up 6%. That's an opportunity loss right there. And then by the time we got back in, the market was up 6%. And then we spent the next 3.5 years in the market, anywhere between a 1x position all the way up to a 2x position. But it's interesting watching anyone, even myself, how opportunity loss really is painful to people. Hey everybody, this is RC Peck, and this is my weekend podcast. And the theme for this weekend is actually not opportunity loss, but it is almost there. And if you're old enough or into Star Wars enough, you will notice this guy. There's a great scene where he is wanting to destroy the Death Star. And he keeps saying, almost there, almost there. Actually, maybe he's not saying it, but the person in central control. So I want to talk to you about something that's almost there to take action on. And the thing I want to talk to you about that's almost there is precious metal mining stocks. The price chart on the screen is XAU. This is the index of gold mining shares. The chart goes back to the end of 2000, so you're looking at 16 years of data. And it can't really tell that well on this screen, but this line right here, this line which is the low of 2000 way back here, intraday, these guys, because this is not intraday, this is just close of day, they did touch this line. But what I want to point out to you is it's been a painful fall of about 75%, depending on how if you've held or watched precious metal mining shares fallen 75% in 4.5 years. It's been very, very painful. But we have this huge support down here, and if I zoom in on this, I can just show you. Again, this is close of day price charts. This is the same price chart. I'm just zooming into a daily. So now this is a 200-day and not a 200-week, because the previous This monthly, that was a 200 month. So this is 200 day. So you can see here, it's a slight rounded bottom. It's not as beautiful as I'd like to see, but it's a slight rounded bottom here. And if I went intraday, you could see that it actually hit the low back in the end at the end of 2000. What I want to point out is, and why I said almost there, and it's maybe almost there, is we had this nice consolidation here for 3 months. And now the price of precious metal mining shares has broken out above and is sitting on top of this. So this is beautiful. If there was used to be a ceiling and now the ceiling becomes a floor, that is very strong. Now we have this 200-day moving average just above it, about 7 or 8% above it. So by no means is this a back up the truck moment, but the longer this price can stay above this line and work its way higher, we'll see what happens with it, with the price at the 200-day exponential moving average, because it's been repelled many times. But so far, so good. Again, even having XAU up while the US dollar is up at the same time. The dollar was up, has been up really strong the last 2 days, and so has XAU. Is kind of went like, so what? So seeing that type of strength in the face of the US dollar moving higher is good for anyone who wants gold to move higher. Now this chart right here is a price chart of actual gold, the price of gold going back to 2001. And what I have on here is a Fibonacci retracement line. That's this vertical line you see here. And this is a 38% retracement, a 50% retracement, and a 62% retracement. And gold, this is not precious metal mining shares, but gold has fallen 50% of the entire move. That is very, very typical and is still well within a healthy correction. So of course gold does have to stay above this 50% retracement, but it's working itself out. We'll see. Again, it's too early to say that the bottoming process is over, but we have some early signs saying gold may be starting to bottom. This price chart right here is simply a zoomed in image of this one right now. I'm literally just zooming into this, the last 3 years of gold, just to show you that, hey, gold itself is still in a downtrend. Yes, it is bouncing off the bottom trend line and it's moving higher. So it still has some, room above it. It still has some resistance above it. So we'll see. I'll keep a watch on it. But, I just kind of think of the Star Wars movie. It's like, almost there, almost there. And that is what it kind of feels like with gold. Now, gold is doing well against the Japanese yen and the Chinese, against the Canadian dollar and against the Australian dollar and against the, did I say euro? Against the euro. But with the Chinese yuan being pegged to the US dollar, those two charts against gold look almost identical. And in a long-term secular bull market in gold, you're going to want to see gold accelerating faster than the yuan, the dollar, the pound, the euro, the yen. Pretty much all of those developed fiat currencies. So what's the takeaway? Well, the biggest takeaway is, look, when gold moves higher, there's going to be plenty of spots to jump on board. One of the things that I often see is people get really antsy and they've got to get the exact bottom to like 1% of the bottom. And it's like, guys, when this breaks higher, it's going to go for a while. And so there'll be plenty of spots to jump on board. But there is some bottoming happening right now within, in the place of gold, within a downtrend. But within precious metal mining shares are looking much better than actual gold, which you want to see at the bottom. You want to see precious metal mining shares leading gold out of it. That is what happens historically. Thanks everybody for being here. And this is just another step in helping you accelerate your portfolio, protect your portfolio, and secure your future. Until next time, this is RC Peck. Hey guys, thanks so much for being here. I wanted to touch base again with gold because with that bottoming, I'll keep an eye on it and watch what's going on. I also just want to let you know that my new training webinar that I put together, the diversification myth, I sent it out, I think I did it 3 weeks ago and it had just great reviews, so I'm probably going to do it again So keep a lookout for that, for a couple emails telling you about the diversification myth, and pretty excited about that with the reviews and the feedback that I've been getting. So if you're noticing yourself still believing that diversification and rebalancing and searching for the lowest fees is the way to grow and get your portfolio and your security back, you're probably going to want to watch this training that I'm doing. Thanks so much for being in my world, and I look forward to connecting with you. You guys take care.